So this is 8.4b as in boy, multiplication of radicals, continuation. We're down on example 13. And just going to teach you a new term here. Might want to write this down so when I say it, you know what I'm talking about. So let me write it so you can read it. And the word is conjugate. A conjugate means that we have two numbers, and in one parenthesis they're added. Okay. Now the conjugate of that, all that means is the sign changes. So this is the conjugate of that, and this is the conjugate of this. So if you just have two things like x plus 4 and you want to write the conjugate, it's just x minus 4. That's all it is. All right, and what happens when you have conjugates like that is when you multiply those, doing the FOIL method, the middle terms, the O and the I terms, disappear. So you don't even have to worry about them. All right, so let me show you. Let's go ahead and do the FOIL method. So we have square root of 5, square root of 5. There's the square root of 5 squared. The outside would be, square root of 5 times negative square root of 2, which would be negative square root of 10. And then square root of 2 times square root of 5. And then last, square root of 2 times negative square root of 2. Okay, so see what happens here? I have a negative square root of 10 and a positive. A negative and a positive, make those go away, make them 0. So square root of 5 squared is 5. Square root of 2 squared is 2. Our answer is 3. All right, so that being the case, let's look at what we can do to make your life easier if you recognize that you're multiplying conjugates. All right, all you have to do is square the first term, square the second term, and put a minus between them. Oops. So this then would be 5. This then would be 2, and you get 3. Okay, so again, if they're conjugates, like this, both terms here are added, both terms here are the same, but are subtracted. You just square the first term, square the second term, and always put a negative between them. And then you can simplify them. So it goes pretty fast. The key part to most of these things is just remembering. I mean, you can use the FOIL method and they'll cancel each other out and you'll get the right answer. It's a little slower, but a lot of times it's the one you remember, so you do it. So let's do square root of A plus square root of B. This is example 14. Now you can see they're conjugates. Both terms are the same. The only difference is one has a plus, one has a minus. So we take the square root of A and square it, square root of B and square it, and put a negative. This here is A, this here is B, and you're done. That's all there is to it. All right, which jumps us up to example number 15, where we have the cubed root of 9 times the cubed root of 3. Okay, so remember, we don't care if they're cubed roots or square roots. We can multiply them. So we get the cubed root of 27. Okay, once we get the cubed root of 27, is there a number multiplied by itself 3 times that gives me 27? Yep, 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27. So our answer is 3. The cubed root of 27 is 3. All right, last example in this lesson is example 16. We have the cubed root of 4 minus 5, and that is squared. So we're just going to kind of do things the way we always do them. It says it's squared, so that means that I'm going to multiply this times itself. And I'm going to do the FOIL method. This times this. Cubed root of 4 squared. Or you could write it as the cubed root of 4 times 4 is 16. Doesn't really matter. Outside, inside, Okay, so let's see what we've got here. Two numbers multiplied together that give me 16. Can I take the cubed root of one of those? Well, I've got 4 times 4 is 16, but I can't take the cubed root of 4, either one of the 4's. But if I take the cubed root of 8 times 2, that would work, because the cubed root of 8 is 2. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So the cubed root of 8 is 2, and that other 2 right here stays in there. So that, what I have right here, is this simplified. Alright, let's look at the middle two terms. Now usually I can add the middle two terms, and that's the case here. I've got a cubed root of 4 and a cubed root of 4. Since those are the same, I can do negative 5 minus 5, which is negative 10, cubed root of 4. Don't forget to keep your index a cubed. It's not a square on this one. Plus 25. And will this reduce? It would if it was the square root of 4, but since it's a cubed root of 4, it won't reduce. So this right there is as simplified as I can go. Okay, so 6.5 minutes into this video. I still have plenty of time, so I'm going to use this video going into some of the practice problems here. So this is number 58, and again we're going to do the FOIL method, so let's do the first. 12. And square root of x times square root of x is square root of x, square root of x squared. Now we do the outside, and I get 3 times 2 is 6. Then I do the inside. Now I do the last. Okay, so notice here we have the square root of x squared, so that means all that leaves except the x. These are addable because we have this being the same, and nothing can be added to that. So for 58, that's all we have there. Alright, let's pick another one that's really pretty tough, and I think that you'll be the same. Most of them are just doing the same thing over and over and over, which is good. It's good practice for you to get that, because that's how you remember how to do these. Okay, so this is 72. Notice we are doing the exact same thing, only we have conjugates. So way you do this is square that, square that, and put a minus sign. Okay, now we have to simplify that. So 3 squared is 9, and that square is also on there, so the sign comes off. We just have 9a. Same thing here. Square the 2, and square root of b squared is just ab. And once you get there, you're done. 9a minus 4b. Okay, found another hard one. This is number 60. So let's do this one. FOIL. Square root of 5, square root of 3, multiply. Outside O. Can't combine those, so we just put them together. Same thing here. And then this one times 1/5. Negative 1/4 times 1/5. Negative 1 over 20. Okay, now we need to look here. Can I reduce this? No, because the only two numbers multiplied together give me 15, or 5 and 3, and those are, can't take the square root of those, so this is already simplified. Square root of 5, square root of 3, I can't combine these because the radicand, the number under the radical sign, is different. And negative 120, there's no other numbers on here that on their own have no radical. So actually, this is as simplified as you can go. So don't try to force simplification even more than that. Sometimes that's as far as you're going to get. And that is 8.4b.